Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj. Today we got another recap video. We're going to be looking at 3 games from yesterday, starting with Bucks Raptors, followed by Bulls Celtics, and then to end the video, Jazz Clippers. And yeah, if I have time, I might even preview today's games, which, by the way, as I'm recording this, are about to start. Let's get going right away. I don't want to waste any time. We're going to start with Bucks Raptors. This game, game 2, following the Bucks win in Toronto to start the series, and like everybody says, the Raptors always lose game 1 at home. It seems to be a constant. It seems to be something that happens every single year by this point. And they did it again a few nights ago. And trailing 1-0 in this series, this was pretty much a must-win game, because when you're at home, you need to take at least one. At the very least, you get one game. If you don't get a single game and you're down 2-0, and I think there's something like 97% of teams that are down 2-0 lose. But getting down 2-0 at home, it's just bad. You don't want to get in that hole. You don't want to get down 2-0 in general. But when you're at home, it's like now the Bucks got 2 home games to finish you off if they win this game. So the Raptors came out and they played better, especially Kyle Lowry. I saw a lot more from Kyle Lowry coming off the 4-point performance in game 1. 2 for 11 from the floor. He really made an effort to bounce back in this one. He dropped 22 points. He was an efficient 6 of 12. He has the line 9 times and made 8 from the free throw line. And he just played a really good all-around game. And this game just went down to the wire. It was close throughout. We got good performances by players on both teams. Chris Middleton and Giannis both played pretty well, except for there was something about Giannis. He was only 9 for 24, and I'll explain why that all happened. But, you know, there was some real good strategizing from the Toronto Raptors in terms of game planning for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And for the Raptors, Serge Ibaka poured in 16 points with 7 boards, 6 assists, and 2 blocks, including a huge one on Thon Maker. DeMar DeRozan had 23 and 7 on 9 of 18 from the field. And they got a pretty good team effort. Good bench contributions from Corey Joseph, Patrick Patterson, and PJ Tucker. So this game went down to the wire. It was so close throughout. You know, a lot of people might think, okay, the Raptors are going to go out, they're going to make a statement, they're going to take this game easily. But the Bucks weren't going away. The Raptors were trying to make runs, the Bucks would make a run right back. Every time the Raptors got up like 10 or 12, the Bucks would come roaring back, and they'd get it tied or you know, close. It wasn't really a game where the Bucks were leading for a lot of the time. It was mostly like the Raptors were leading, but the Bucks weren't going away. They weren't letting it get out of hand, and it went down to the wire, to the final possession, where it looks like the Bucks, well, they're down 2, they're not fouling here, they're letting Kyle Lowry take this shot, and good defense, better offense. I should say great defense, because this is a tough shot. But a motivated Kyle Lowry, he wasn't going to miss this one. You know, if you ask him, he's like, yeah, I'm locked in, I'm not missing this shot. He didn't. That's you got to give credit to the guy. And if he misses that shot, which it seemed like there was a high probability he would, because that's not an easy shot, you know, then the Bucks get a chance to tie or take the lead with a few seconds left in the game. But the Raptors got the W, and now they head on the road to Milwaukee. For the rest of this series, yes, I did say I think the Raptors are still going to win the series. I think I updated my prediction. When I started, I said it was in 6, but now, you know, I'm thinking maybe 7. I still got the Raptors winning, just because I think that down the stretch of this series, we're going to see big games from Lowry and DeRozan. They're going to get into their flows more, and I don't know. I just trust them more to win this series. The Bucks, they're not very predictable. You don't know what you're going to get from them, but I just don't think that they have the overall quality depth that they need to beat the Raptors. I don't think their team is as good. Simple as that. The guys around Giannis aren't as good as the guys around Lowry or DeRozan or whatever. So yeah, and look, I don't like the position the Raptors are in for them, because I think that, you know, you get blown out in game 1 on your home floor, and then second game in your home floor, you need this Kyle Lowry desperation shot to win the game. And yes, a win's a win, but you're not looking great, because both these games are at home. You lucked out of one win, not lucked out. Sorry, that was a great shot by Kyle Lowry, but look, it was close. They could have easily lost that game. And now they're on the road. They got to take at least one of these games on the road. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say, because yeah, the Raptors could go in, and I think the Raptors. I think they'll split these next 2 games. And go back to the Raptors. Go back to Air Canada Center, tied at 2 apiece. But I don't know. We'll see. Now. On to the most interesting game of the night. My Chicago Bulls going into Boston for Game 2, up 1-0. The 8 seed Bulls took down the Celtics in Game 1, and a lot of people thought it was an upset. Well, not Jimmy Butler, and the Bulls. They were saying, well, look, we know we can play. We don't look at the seeding. We're going at these guys. And that's exactly what they did. For a second straight game, the Chicago Bulls, and this time they got a double-digit win. They were up 14 to win this game, but they were actually winning by something like 19. I don't even know if they got up 20. They might have gotten up 20 at one point. But all 5 starters were at least plus 17. Their starting lineup absolutely dominated the Boston Celtics, which was led by a game-high Rajon Rondo, who was plus 24, but also 11 points, 14 assists, 9 boards for Rajon Rondo. A little throwback game to go up against the Celtics. Wade chipped in 22. Jimmy Butler had 22, 8, 4 steals, 2 blocks. And yeah, the Chicago starters just dominated the Boston starters. Isaiah Thomas had 20 points on 6 of 15 shooting. He wasn't really a factor late in this game. Avery Bradley was 5 of 15. They didn't get key contributions from their big men. Amir Johnson, Al Horford, both were not good in this game. And Kelly Olynyk off the bench, he gave them a little bit of a spark scoring-wise, but he was getting dominated on the backboards. Robin Lopez continues to be a huge factor in this series, and not just Robin Lopez, but the rebounding of this Bulls team. Their starting lineup, Mirotic had 7 boards, Butler 8 boards, Lopez 8 boards, Rondo 9 boards, Wade 4. Their starting lineup crashed the glass. They got after it, and Lopez had 5 offensive rebounds in this game. Mirotic and Rondo each with 2, and Butler and Wade each had 1. These guys get offensive rebounds, extra possessions, and the Boston Celtics didn't defensive rebound nearly enough. I mean, they just weren't doing it. And they were giving the Bulls so many shots, and on the other end, it's not like they could shoot well enough to keep themselves in this game, and they evidently couldn't. And now it's incredible to think that the Boston Celtics, the 1 seed, the team that a lot of people were thinking about as, well, look, they're the future dynasty of this NBA, they're getting good now, they have a chance at upsetting the Cavs, or the 1 seed, even if you dare to utter the words, they're the best team in the East. Well, they got shown up twice at home. Now they're going to Chicago, where they haven't won since 2014, and they got to play and win both games on the road against a team that just embarrassed them twice on their home floor. That's an 8 seed, but is playing a lot more superior. And when I look at this game, when I watch this, and I'm seeing how these two teams are playing, the Bulls look like the better team. It's not like the Bulls, they're getting lucky, they're hitting these crazy shots. The Celtics are just they're not playing well. I mean, they're not playing well, but the Bulls just look better. They're bigger, they're more physical, they're getting after more, they're trying harder. Their sets look better, they look more well coached. Everything's flowing great for them because they're playing the way they're supposed to. They're moving the ball around. They're playing really solid defense, getting in passing lanes, forcing turnovers. They're game planning for Boston. They're shutting down Isaiah Thomas. They're trying to take him out of the game, make someone else beat them, and it's working. The other Celtic players besides Isaiah Thomas can't get anything going here, and now the conversation gets brought up more and more. The fact that, okay, the Celtics, they should have made that trade. They should have traded these picks. They should have traded for Jimmy Butler or Paul George or Cousins or whoever. And I heard, a lot of people have their opinions on this, but a lot of people don't like that the Celtics didn't spend these picks because no one that you're drafting is a sure thing. And if you draft Markelle Fultz or Lonzo Ball, you already have a point guard who's 29 or going to be 30 soon, who has a year left on his contract. And are you going to give him max money next to a new point guard that you're drafting? And is that your team to go on? It's like mixing the young with the old, and it doesn't really work, doesn't really look to work out very well. So I don't know how the Celtics are moving on from this. If they get bounced in the first round here, which they most likely will, I'm not going to rule anything out because I don't want to do that. I don't want to say, the Bulls are definitely taking this, because you never know with the Bulls. They could give this up. Celtics could win 4 straight, get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and we will just forget about all this stuff because it wouldn't matter by then. But if the Celtics drop this series, things don't look so good for the direction of the franchise. What are you doing here? You signed Al Horford to that huge deal, and he's not a playoff player. He's not the type of guy that you can lean on to be big in the playoffs. You don't pay a guy over $100 million to do what Al Horford is doing in this series. only putting up 7 points and being minus 19 and getting outplayed by Robin Lopez 2 games in a row, it can't happen. So the Boston Celtics have a lot to think about. They need a lot of luck to survive this one. I don't see how it's going to happen, but they got to put something together. They got to get some big contributions from supporting players. They got to get the rebounding situation fixed up. I don't know what they got in store, but it's not looking good. Now, last game of the night, we had the Utah Jazz visiting LA to play the Clippers. Game 2, Utah still in the win in LA for Game 1 on the Joe Johnson buzzer beater, and the Clippers looked like they came out more motivated in this one. And something that was definitely more apparent was the fact that Rudy Gobert wasn't there, and they were making it more apparent, I should say, because in Game 1, these teams played, and it didn't really matter that Rudy Gobert wasn't playing in terms of the defense, because the Jazz were still getting stops, grinding out possessions, playing their game. They do a great job at going along without one of their best, if not their best players, and doing what they do. And the LA Clippers, they needed to utilize the fact that Rudy Gobert's not in the paint. That instead of going up against Gobert, you're going up against someone like Diaw or Derek Favors or Jeff Withey. You have to go down into the paint and get buckets. You got to establish your inside game early. That's what they did. They got DeAndre Jordan looks down low. Blake Griffin, they got him down low as well, and they really took advantage of the lack of paint protection in this one. They got great games out of the big three. Chris Paul had 21 and 10 assists. Jordan 18 points, 15 boards on 9 of 11 shooting. Blake Griffin 24 points on 11 of 21. He was plus 10. Jordan plus 12. Paul plus 9. You got good minutes out of these guys. The Clippers bench still got outplayed by the Jazz bench. But the biggest problem for Utah in this game is they really didn't get a big performance out of anybody. No one really on their team shot the ball that well. And no one had a quality game. I mean, to be quite honest with you guys, when I'm looking at this stat sheet, I can't really see anybody that had a great game. Gordon Hayward had 20, but he was 5 of 15. Derek Favors had 13 and 7 on 5 of 7 from the field, but he was minus 11. And George Hill had 12 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, but he was 5 of 12, and he was negative in the plus minus. The only guys that were positive in the plus minus were Joe Johnson off the bench, who poured in 13, but he was 6 of 15 from the floor, and he didn't really do anything else than score the basketball. Rodney Hood, who was plus 3 in this game, and he had 10 points, 3 of 7. No one really dominated this game or took it over, and that's something that we've seen from the Utah Jazz. They don't really have a guy like that. Gordon Hayward is the closest thing to that, and he's usually a really good player, but so far in the playoffs, Gordon Hayward hasn't been that guy. And he's the guy that they need to do that with, because when you have a guy like Gobert in the regular season, your defense is going to be top notch. You're not going to need to be scoring 120 a game in order to beat teams. And Gordon Hayward usually puts up a steady 22 a game, which is good, which is really good. But in a game like this without Gobert, where you need more points, you're going to need Gordon Hayward to take over games. The load is going to be heavier. You need George Hill to contribute more as well. Those guys definitely need to step up, and also, of course, feed Derek Favors the ball more. He got 7 shot attempts in this one, and he needs more than that. I just think they need to utilize those guys. They got to get certain guys to just step up. Someone's got to carry this load. Someone's got to do the heavy lifting here. It's got to be Gordon Hayward, and he needs some help to do that as well. Joe Johnson, again, I'm liking that he's contributing a lot off the bench in this series so far, just because he's an older guy. We didn't hear a lot from him in the regular season, but it's playoff time. He's woken up a little. So Jazz not able to hold off the Clippers in this one, and the Clips take a 99-91 win. That's gonna do it for this video. Or wait, actually no, I'm gonna preview today's game. So we have Washington hosting Atlanta for game 2. That's gonna be a fun one. I think I'm gonna say Wizards win. I think they're gonna take it too early. I think the Wizards are really motivated this year in the playoffs. I think they want to get rid of the Atlanta Hawks completely, but I think when you go back into Atlanta, I think they're gonna get some wins there. Who else we got? We got OKC Houston. Ooh. I got Houston take another one. Houston, that big game 1. They're looking to improve a point. They're not trying to lose to OKC at home. They're looking really good. They're trying to get this stuff out of the way. They're looking at the championship is what they're looking at. And the last game is Golden State Portland. No Kevin Durant, I don't think. So will I go Portland? No, I won't. I'm sorry. It's in Oracle. Curry, Thompson, and Green are still playing. I can't do that, no matter how confident CJ McCollum seems to be. I'm going to go Warriors for that one. That's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, comment, what you think of these games, who you think is going to win today. Yeah, subscribe if you're new. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.